surprised to hear that about Viva because I had always been told it wasn't even on the roadmap for GCC. And then the other day I was in SharePoint and then one of the widgets was a preview.
Oh, yeah. So Viva Connections is available today. There's 4 Viva modules that all work together in teams, and we are going to get them in the government cloud in a piecemeal fashion. Frankly, commercial is as well. We'll be rolling out module by module, and our timeline is you got connections available now, and we hope to have topics, insights, and learning soon to follow. So I would like to take a minute to talk about that. But before I do, does anybody here have any specific questions that I can be helpful with today around teams that you might have come to this appointment with? If not, I'll dive right into Viva. Sounds like that's a hot topic for folks. I'm not a bit surprised because actually, it is very exciting.
If you have a moment, I do have a question. This is Glenn. On the roadmap about Teams breakout rooms, it says what is coming before the end of the month will be that the organizer can elevate someone else to be the organizer. Right now, the breakout rooms controls are only visible to the organizer. And what we have is frequently somebody sets up all the meetings, but then a presenter is actually the one who is conducting the meeting, but then they don't see any of the breakout room controls. And so we tested that yesterday and we don't have it. The other thing about breakout rooms is the pre-assignment of breakout rooms was also in the roadmap, that it's going to be in the government cloud version before the end of the month. And we tested it yesterday and we don't have it yet either. So anything that you have to say about that would be welcome.
Sure. So I'm sharing my screen here, and I do want to take a moment. Glenn, thanks for asking a question about a roadmap item, because we've had quite the redesign of our Microsoft 365 roadmap site. If you happen to not be familiar with this site, although I think you guys are all pros in that regard, I am going to put a link to it in the chat so you can take a look at this on your own. But in the meantime, let me filter the list and we'll drill down into the feature that Glenn is asking about together. So by filtering on the list, you can see all of our products. Typically, when I land on this page, I have it tailored for me to Microsoft Teams and to the government cloud. And because you all join me relatively often, I would imagine you'd want to do that too. Set your filter. And then you can come in and you can check out line by line all of the expected features and what our timeline is for rolling those out. Now, the breakout rooms, let me apply this. There are 4 items on the roadmap right now for the breakout rooms. The one that Glenn is referring to is presenter support, meaning that in addition to the organizer, some presenters can have additional controls when it comes to breakout rooms, so they can support that organizer intervention and that organizer managing the breakout rooms. And you're right, let's see, it was last modified on October the 19th. The GA date, which is planned, that does include GCC, is October 2021. It looks like we've got 9 days left. Glenn, I don't have an update for you on that one. I have not heard that it is delayed, so that's good news. So I'll keep you posted, but since it's been updated just very recently, but the timeline hasn't been changed during that update, I think we'll be seeing that very soon. I can certainly keep you updated, and I made a note of your ask. So come next Friday for office hours, hopefully we can demo it. We can show it off. Okay, we also have the new assignment experience in a modal window for breakout rooms that's coming. Oh, actually, that's already been delivered. These bottom three, you can see, are in the past. So we've had 3 releases pertaining to breakout rooms, and we are just waiting for this last one, this presenter support. Again, I haven't heard any update that would give me a hint that this might be delayed, so I think we're in good shape for that, so stay tuned. Okay, now Jim, I saw you mention something about RSS feeds. You're looking for a connector there in the government cloud?
Well, I went to look for it in the cloud yesterday, couldn't find it, but I did Google it to see was it feasible to integrate texting into a Teams environment, and it seemed as though it was, and it made reference to that connector. So I was just trying to see if there's a connection, no pun intended.
Okay. Yeah, if there's a connection for the connector, yes. I would say that there is so much coming to Teams around texting options. We have several third-party providers that do that now. We also have Azure Communication Services, which is going to be available soon to enable SMS texting. I know you're looking for the RSS feed connector, and I'll do a little homework on that because I have not tinkered with that. So your intention with that is to text from Teams?
Well, we're having difficulties communicating with people that the newer folks aren't reading emails the way that the rest of us used to do. Teams is somewhat working, but the majority of what they do is they text. And so if you can't integrate into their normal communication channels to remind them of doing things, then we're at a bit of a disadvantage.
Yep, understood. Okay, let me see what I can do with that use case and propose some options for you.
Okay.
I'm hoping that connector is available, so we can definitely go down that road together. Christy, Anna, I just searched in the roadmap, and you can see that the co-organizer meeting role is still planned to be generally available in November. So I will keep you posted on that too in our office hours. Feel free to pop in from week to week and we can talk about it, but it is expected to land in the government cloud. You'll note that they've called out the GCC. I just love seeing that, for this to deliver worldwide, including our tenants in November of this year. So this quarter is going to be a very busy one, and I anticipate it being a rather exciting one for us because there are so many things that I get asked about often that are roadmapped for in the very near future. So it's very exciting. Yes, of course, Christiana, I'm happy to do that. Now, I do want to take just a few minutes while I have your attention. Hopefully you are interested. I want to share some information about Viva Connections because I feel like Viva, like there's so much mystery around Viva. And Viva Connections in particular is very straightforward in how you can take advantage of it as a government customer. Even today, it is available to all of our customers, including those in the government cloud, and it is a simple process to stand up that Viva Connections app that plugs into Teams. So what I'm about to share here is a quick presentation just overall about Viva. Now, I know we've only got about, 18 minutes left, so I'm not going to belabor every one of these slides, but I just want to give you a high-level overview of what Viva is and why we developed it and what we hope it will do for our customers. So we are looking to have Microsoft Viva serve the employee experience, which is so, Jim, sure, yeah, I'll be happy to share this. I have a customer-ready version. I can email you after this. So Viva Connections really focuses on embracing the hybrid work that we are living these days, right? We've done a lot of research around workers and their opinions about post-pandemic, hopefully soon post-pandemic work, and how the employee experience is just going to be so very important. So that's what this slide is indicating, that data certainly directs us points us to the employee experience as being important for everyone. So we're really looking to have Viva support the business and its people through employee engagement, through fostering satisfaction in your employees, through encouraging their retention. I know in a lot of state agencies, having new employees all the time is a challenge. And so employee retention becomes very important. And of course, for our commercial customers, profitability is essential too. Now, you might be wondering, okay, employee experience. So what does that mean? What are we driving to really? What we're trying to do with Viva overall is to align the people in an agency or in an organization around a purpose, and to facilitate a positive culture and encourage deep communication that brings more employees and people ahead on the knowledge curve, and helping your SMEs share their information so that you can have more SMEs in your business. And of course, part of Viva is insights, and that's really targeted at well-being and engagement for your employees. And of course, along all of that curve, having that growth mindset and being able to deliver some learning in a way that the organization can track and benefit from is key. So all 5 of these circles have to do with enhancing that employee experience. And that's what I mean when I say an employee experience platform. Now, of course, you guys are here because you are likely Teams champions in your organization. So I definitely don't have to belabor this one with you. When it comes to Teams, you know, having your collaborations, your integrations, your chats and meetings all in our Teams platform certainly makes it a natural place to plug in this employee experience and these tools that have been developed. So I mentioned at the very beginning of the call that Viva has 4 modules dedicated within it to tackle those areas that we want to focus on with employee experience. You can see them from left to right. Connections really focuses on culture and communications. It is built on your SharePoint online intranet. If you don't have one today, let's talk about that certainly. And if you have one, think about how you might plug that into Teams and surface all of that great information for your end users where they're already at all day long in communications in Teams. Then the other 3 modules, again, they're not available today in the government cloud, but they are on the roadmap, is Viva Insights, Viva Topics, and Viva Learning. Now, Viva Insights, I mentioned in a previous slide, is really focused on the well-being of your employees and their productivity. Viva Topics takes the knowledge and expertise of your employees and uses some AI to empower others to benefit from that knowledge and expertise. And then Viva Learning, which I am probably the most excited out of all 4 of these for Viva Learning. It's definitely one that I can see folks that I talk to all the time. Jim, I think immediately of your champions group that you might be fostering, where having that skilling and growth information plugged into a Viva Learning app that sits in Teams and helps you govern those skill sets and learning paths and drive your employees through those, I think is going to be wonderful. The other thing that makes Viva so responsive and helpful when it comes to that employee experience is that it's not limited to just what you have in Microsoft. You also have the ability to leverage your other internal enterprise applications inside Viva. So think about plugging in your enterprise HR product or your content management system or any other tools that you might already be using, your LMS system. Think about plugging those into Viva and having it surface that information to the employees along with your corporate communications and along with things that help them find their peers that have the knowledge that they need to do their jobs. Now, dialing into Viva Connections around culture and communications, and I'll tell you, I'm going to switch my microphone really quickly. I apologize, but I'm getting a low battery on my headset and I don't want to lose. Okay. Okay, if you could give me a thumbs up that you can hear me, I'd appreciate that. Everybody hear me okay? Awesome. Okay, so I really wanted to take the time to introduce Viva Connections to you all. I know that some of you are probably further along in your SharePoint Online integrations into your business than others, and that's quite all right. However, if you're using SharePoint Online today for an intranet, let's say you have a top-level site and you have departmental level sites that fall underneath that hub site or that top-level site, you are already in great position to take advantage of Viva Connections, because what Viva Connections can do is wrap that SharePoint Online site, your top-level home site, into an app that you then plug into Teams. You'll see in the next screen a little more detail. I know it's fragmented on this one, but the goal would be to keep everyone connected. We want all of your corporate or your agency-wide communications, your news items, the tools your users need, all to be able to be surfaced in one app, Viva Connections, plugged into Teams. It's going to make it much easier for your staffs to find what they're looking for when it comes to your intranet and your top level, most popular sites. It's also going to give you the ability to remind folks in a regular fashion what the vision of the agency is, what the mission is, and define those strategic priorities and share those on the regular using your SharePoint Online intranet. And having them have that a part of their regular Teams interaction is going to absolutely give more attention to those topics that drive culture and communications for you. Now, what you're looking at here, and I'm going to try a little laser pointer. Hopefully you guys are seeing that. But in the top left, you have the Viva Connections app. Now, this one is called Rela Cloud because this is a fictitious company name, right? So imagine your agency's name at the top of this Viva Connections site. That's going to be built on SharePoint Online, and then Viva Connections enables this powerful connection into Teams. And you can see on the left rail how that app that Viva Connections helped you to create can be pinned to the left rail and be the main landing place for all your employees as they interact with Teams every day. So you could make this be the focal point where your employees land before they even check their activity feed in Teams, which I know sounds funny because the activity feed is where I go immediately in the mornings. But having this pinned at the top left is going to facilitate you delivering those agency-wide messages and keeping folks focused on what they need to focus on. This is customizable. There are dashboard highlights called out here, meaning as an employee, if there are applications that I need to access regularly, then having them be a part of this dashboard in Viva Connections would be a fantastic idea. So you could customize and include those additional connections. It goes right hand in hand with Teams and how we always look to engage and integrate the business that's being done, even with our own tools and with third-party tools. So Viva Connections is certainly going to take advantage of that by allowing you to integrate a dashboard into your SharePoint Online home site and then pin it in Teams using Viva Connections. Now, the rest of my slides are more focused around some of the other areas. Oh, actually, let me just quickly mention that today in the government cloud, and this is true in the commercial cloud too, I believe,
Today in the government cloud, the Viva Connections app for Teams is available in the desktop version. Okay, the mobile version is coming though, and I think this is really great to demonstrate to you how Viva Connections would be mobile friendly when it lands for the government cloud. So you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, looks like a mock-up of Rela Cloud's Viva Connections app pinned in Teams. You can see it down on the bottom. If you haven't used Teams on the mobile yet, I would definitely suggest taking advantage of that if your organization lets you do that. And once your organization decides to use Viva Connections, having this pinned on the bottom left on the mobiles is going to be helpful as well. So that's what this is demonstrating. It's showing that Viva Connections app first, then activity, then chat, then Teams, and so on and so forth. On your mobile, you can click those three dots and see any other apps that you might see from the ellipsis on your left rail if it's available in your tenant. Okay, quick high level on the other modules. Viva Insights is all about that productivity and well-being. I mentioned this one before. This one, I'm trying to remember offhand. I'll have to go and verify. This one is not early in the release plans for Government Cloud. I think this one may be among the last of the Viva modules that would make it to the Government Cloud. But it is something to keep in mind if you're looking to foster those well-being initiatives in your agency. Keep in mind that Viva Insights potentially could be a great support for that. And I see we're bumping up into 5 minutes, so pardon me if I accelerate through this a bit. Viva Learning is another module. We mentioned before how excited I am in particular about Viva Learning. Its ability to bring Microsoft training into your Teams environment is pretty cool, and its ability to bring in your own training modules that you can then customize into learning paths for folks and then track their progression through there is going to be a great way to continue to foster that growth mindset, community, and culture in your agency. So I'm looking forward to that one too. And then the last one, which I found to be really insightful, because Viva Topics is able, in large agencies, let me back up. I know that many of you have very large agencies who have SMEs in topics who have been in your agencies for a long time, who know their stuff, and your new employees could benefit from that knowledge if they knew where to find it. So Viva Topics is very helpful in helping you to identify who the leaders are in your organization who are tackling projects every day. And through AI, it's helping to surface that information and bring it forward so that new users or users who haven't covered particular topics before in their daily work can find that and drill into the deeper information. I don't think I have an additional slide on that one, so let me go back here and I'll show you. And I know it's very small, so it's going to be a little difficult to see, but I want to qualify what I just said with what Viva Topics is actually going to look like in Teams. So in Viva Topics, you are able to look across your teams that you're a part of, and anywhere where the AI has established that there is content being shared, where there are team members who have absolutely owned that content and know it in and out, a card will be created so that your end users who are perhaps new to that topic can see an acronym, and they can hover over it and then see the card that will show them, this is all the information you need to know about this particular acronym. This is what this acronym means, and these are the people that work on this project under this acronym title. So it's able to crawl and bring out content, people, and knowledge around any particular topics that are covered, and give easy access to folks who want to learn more about that information. And we talked about all 4 of those modules before I ran out of time. I'm really glad that we had an opportunity to cover each of those. I'm going to click through a couple of these other things and see if there's something else that I can highlight in the last couple of minutes. It really is an ecosystem, and it's going to allow you to leverage, just like Teams does, those third-party applications that are helpful in your agency. It's going to be able to embrace those as well. Now, in Viva Connections, and I'll go ahead and point this out because it's something that I'm talking about being available today to you guys in the government cloud. As a deployment prerequisite, you're really going to want to make sure that your content can be targeted to certain audiences. You're also going to want to take that SharePoint Online top-level site and define it as a home site. There's a simple PowerShell script that you can run to designate your top-level site as a home site. Once it has that designation, then Viva Connections can interact with it much better and consume its information for displaying it in Teams in the appropriate fashion. The other thing that it is going to look for is that in your SharePoint Online home site, that your global navigation is made available in Viva Connections as well. What that means is when you click on Viva Connections, you see the entire global navigation that's available in SharePoint Online. And when you click through any of your additional subsites or pages in Viva Connections, you're going to see that global navigation standardized across those, so you can move throughout your home site in a seamless way within Teams. So those are important things to watch out for when you are considering Viva Connections. And of course, if you have any questions, we'll be here every week on Friday at 11 a.m. It's been great to have you today, and for those of you who asked for copies of this deck, I'll be happy to give you a customer-ready version. Thanks for joining all, and I'll stick around for a few minutes. If you have some questions you'd like to put in the chat, I'm happy to hang out. Thank you.